Time is the one quantity that we cannot buy or get more of. Therefore, we have to make the best use of the time that we have. How we organise our time is a critical factor in achieving optimal productivity. Let's look at some strategies that can help us not just manage, but master our time effectively. If you like this video, then don't forget to hit like and subscribe to keep updated on the new content that we release. My name's Andy Waterhouse. I'm the Presales coach. Let's get started. This is the second of 3 videos that aim to help you manage your time more effectively and ensure that you're a highly productive member of the team that outperforms the rest. In the last video, we looked at how to review where you're spending your time and how to ensure that you focus on what's key to your role and how you build your career. You built a list of the tasks that you need to be doing and doing them effectively. Now we need to look at how to change the way you work to be more efficient at what you do. How great would it be to finish all of your work and know that your evenings and weekends are purely for you? Many knowledge workers do not have that feeling. Like any change, you need to recognize your own challenges, find the change that works for you, and then stick with it. But change is hard. Many people have New Year's resolutions to make a positive change in their life, but most have stopped by the 3rd week of January. So take the list of suggestions I'm about to make about organising and optimising your time and find which ones work for you. Just because it works for someone else does not mean it works for you. We're all unique. I'm an identical twin and my twin brother does things completely different to me in many ways. A few years ago, I read a summary of a research paper that discussed how we should consider the brain to be similar to a muscle in our bodies. The paper suggested that we need to take a different approach to how we exercise the brain during the day. Let's compare this to going to the gym, something that I'll admit that I don't do very often. At the gym, we try various machines for cardio and stamina, weights for strength, and building muscle, etc. But we regularly move around and do different things to push our bodies. Yet when we go to work, we often do many repetitive tasks. Back-to-back video calls, hours of emails, all just looking at a screen. I previously highlighted some research that was performed by Microsoft about the impact of back-to-back Zoom calls, and it clearly shows stress levels increasing, which impacts productivity. We need to take a different approach to how we manage our work. And there's a simple way to visualize this, which I'm sure that you'll have heard of. The Big Rocks, which was introduced by Stephen Covey. Covey asks us to imagine a glass jar on a desk where the empty space represents the time that you have to manage. Next to the jar, there are large rocks, little rocks, sand, and a glass of water. These items represent the tasks that you have to get done. The big rocks represent your main priorities, big projects, and longer-term goals. The little rocks represent your day-to-day work and short-term goals. The sand represents the small, unimportant tasks that keep popping up, and the water represents all of the distractions that prevent you from getting work done. If you start with the water and the sand, then you have no room to fit the small rocks and the big rocks in the jar. Most of us will have heard this before, and we know that we need to start with the big rocks, then little rocks, then sand, and then water. This analogy teaches us that we need to focus on the higher level goals to get more done. If we get stuck in the small details, then the significant priorities will not get worked on. Organising our time sounds great, but how many of us actually do this? How do we make a change and transform what we do? It starts with planning and understanding what goals that you have. There's an old saying that says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Do you even have a plan for your goals? A career goal, yearly goal, monthly or weekly, or even daily goal? How do you know if you're being successful? Let's start with a simple change. Start using daily and weekly goals. Have a set point in your calendar every week that reviews the goals from last week and then defines the actionable goals for the next week. You should review the goals from last week to determine which you completed, but particularly which goals were missed and why. Did you overestimate what could be done? Was there an emergency that came up? Or did you focus on some of the lower priority tasks instead? This should be your guide to doing something different next week. One tip is to give yourself an incentive if you complete your goals, but make sure that you stick to only getting the incentive if you complete the goals. Now plan for next week and start to break down the big rocks into each day. Add some of the smaller rocks as well. You need to employ a technique called time blocking, where you block out specific time segments during the day to get specific work done. You might want to make some of the time blocks recurring across many weeks, so they're protected time against other meeting bookings. You can use time blocking for other items as well. We'll come back to that shortly. As you allocate the time blocks, you should be mindful of deadlines and project priorities. But what is really a priority? One tool here is the Eisenhower matrix. Prioritize tasks by categorizing them using a 2x2 grid of urgent and important. The tasks are then categorized as urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, or neither. This helps in focusing on tasks that truly matter. You need to decide how much time from each day will be allocated to the rocks. Remember that there will always be other things that need to be done. Only you can determine how much time to allocate, but you can experiment to find the correct level. Next, we need to look at some of the other major demands on your time. There are 3 major challenges that need to be addressed: meetings, email and messaging, and then social media. Meetings are an amazing work avoidance scheme if you're not careful. It's easy for someone to set up a meeting and invite anyone that might be interested, and boom, you just lost 30 minutes or 60 minutes of your day. Be firm on meeting invitations. Is there a clear agenda and defined outcomes? Do you need to be there? Could you delegate it to someone else? Could it be a 15-minute meeting that gets quickly to the point? Could it actually just be a shared document that people contribute to and then review at a later date? I have 2 great suggestions for meetings that have to happen. Do a standing meeting. No one sits down, as long as they're able to stand, and it makes people get to the point very quickly. The other suggestion is walking meetings. This is great for one-to-ones or a very small group. You hold the meeting while taking a walk in a quiet space like a park. No office distractions, and you get the added advantage of being good for your physical and mental health. Next, let's look at email and messaging. Email, messenger apps, Slack, etc. are amazing communications tools, but they're terrible for being able to concentrate on getting the important tasks done. These apps are designed to create a sense of urgency for you to use the app. But are the notifications really urgent? Usually not. So the fix here is to create time blocks for responding to emails and messaging apps. Make sure that you don't get pulled into quickly responding to an email. Use the time block. You could also set a do not disturb setting on your devices when you're working on your primary goals. Finally, there's the social media apps. You need to be aware that these apps are designed to keep you engaged inside the app. They're a major productivity killer. That one notification about a friend could end up in a 30-minute waste of time. One suggestion is to remove social media from your work devices, but this isn't practical for most people. However, pausing notifications from them during the workday is something that most devices will allow you to set up. You'll be amazed by how much time this gives back. By the way, don't forget to build breaks into your day. Coming back to the gym analogy, you give your muscles a break, so make sure you give your brain a break. Oh, and don't forget to hydrate it as well. The Pomodoro technique suggests working in short, focused bursts, usually 25 minutes, followed by a short break. Why not see if that works for you too? And remember, effective time management is a personalized journey. Experiment with different strategies and adopt those that best align with your work style and goals. Technology can really help us when it comes to optimizing our time. There are some really amazing time management apps out there. Some are full-blown time tracking and reporting apps, some are project management, and some are just straight task managers. In my experience, you need to be careful about which app to implement. Some force you to use their methodology for managing projects and tasks. This is great if it fits with your style and role, but you need to be careful not to try and fit a square peg into a round hole. You could use a free trial or free version of the app to try it, but be careful to review how the app works and how it might force you to change your method of operation. Also, is there a tool that could be integrated into your team so shared tasks and projects can be visualized as well? I've tried a number of solutions in this area. My personal experience has been that most tools like Notion, Trello, Asana, Monday, etc. do a good job, but you only get back what you put into them. Try to make sure that the tool that you use also allows you to integrate into your calendar and the time blocks that you've already set up. Next, think about some of the smaller items that you're hit with. The sand in the big rocks analogy. There's a simple rule that you can apply, the 2-minute rule. If the task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This rule prevents small tasks from accumulating and consuming more time later. Again, block out some time to look at these smaller items and just get them done. You'll be amazed at how satisfying it can be ticking off a long list of smaller items. Aligned with this is the idea of creating a time block for completing similar tasks. Forcing the brain to regularly switch contexts and think about wildly different topics can be difficult and also very tiring. A simple approach is to create time blocks for completing similar tasks. The brain doesn't need to switch context as much, so executes faster and you become much more efficient. There's an added benefit in that you're less tired by the end of the day due to context switching. As you start to create and use the various time blocks, one additional area to consider is to ensure that your time blocks are regularly scheduled for the same time and same day. This consistency also allows the brain to work subconsciously to prepare for the tasks you're about to give it. The final point to consider in optimizing our time comes back to the requests that hit us unexpectedly. We've all been there. Your manager suddenly asks for something, a colleague needs your time right now, or a message arrives in an app demanding your time. This is all about how we learn to say no, and is the third video in this series, The Fine Art of Saying No. Time management is a skill that, when honed, can transform our professional and personal lives. By understanding time as a finite resource, structuring our day strategically, employing efficiency tools, and overcoming the common time wasters, we can reclaim valuable hours. If you like this video, then hit like and subscribe to keep updated on the new content that we release. And why not subscribe to our newsletter for updates on what's happening, plus hints and tips about Presales. Links are in the video description, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below as well. Until the next time, I'm Andy Waterhouse. I'm the Presales coach. Thanks for watching.